Hey y'all, hey, it is us again. We are here for this Storytime Spotlight segment, August edition. And we have
Yes.
something special planned.
Yes, indeed. Today we will be speaking with the author Cheryl Giles about her book, Counting Backwards, Rhyming Fun, 25 to None.
Yes, and we are so excited to have her on this segment. But before we bring Miss Giles in, I want you to all to know what Storytime Spotlight is.
Yes, so Storytime Spotlight is a monthly series where we get to feature Black authors of children's books and talk to them a little bit about their process, their background, and why it was important for them to create um, their books. It's really exciting, and we love to get the community involved and get the youth involved and just kind of spread the word about different authors that are making really great books for our kids.
Yes, and we're happy to keep this series going, this bi-monthly series. So stay tuned for the next one that's going to take place in October. We have a very special guest, and we'll explain why. I mean, everyone is just special, but we'll explain why her appearance on the segment will be quite interesting. So stay tuned. So I am Dr. Cathryn Calhoun, also known as Dr. CC, and I am the Director of Education and Community Engagement here at the August Wilson African American Cultural Center.
And my name is Miss Keah Adams. I'm the Senior Manager of Education and Community Engagement here at the August Wilson African American Cultural Center.
Yes, that's so long-winded, but you know what? We love to say it. Represent. So without further ado, we would love to introduce you to our special guest.
Yes, please turn your attention to the lovely Miss Cheryl Giles. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. My name is Cheryl Giles, and I am relatively a new author for the last, I guess, say 4 years. I have written two books. One of them is called Keelan, A Dream Comes True. And my newest book that I will be reading today is called Counting Backwards, Rhyming Fun, 25 to None. And the reason I wrote this book was because when I was a teacher, I taught kindergarten, first grade. And by the time children by the time children go to the second grade, they have to know how to count backwards from 25 to zero. Um, when you are at home and your parents are teaching you, most of us have learned the counting back from 10 to zero, the 10 little Indians jumping on the bed, one fell off and bumped his head, and so on and so forth, down to zero. But there was nothing that I ever heard about that was beyond that would help children uh, do it with a rhyme, and children learn really well when they can pick up a rhyme and um, or a song and when we watch Sesame Street or some of the other children's programs, when they're rhyming and talking, the kids pick it up really quick. So um, while I was teaching them, it just came to me, why don't you just think about creating a rhyme to go backwards for the kids? And what this did was, what also prompted that was, we line our children up from A to Z. And when we line them up, no matter how you line them up, A was always first. The last letter of your alphabet on your roster was Z or whatever, and Z never got to be first. So I decided, well, let me flip it. And then this way, Z could be first sometimes.
Right.
And then uh, A could be last sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, A didn't like that too much. A didn't like that too much, but it was like, okay, well, this is the way it is. I had started teaching them the rhyme, and then I said, well, stop, because I said, if you somewhere in my head said, you may want to use this rhyme to create a book someday. And I didn't want my children running around in their neighborhood doing all the sounds or the numbers, and then maybe some other person would come up and say, "Oh, that's a good idea." So I kind of hid my idea until I finished working, and then came up with the book 25, counting backwards, and made the rhyming fun from 25 to none.
I love that concept.
Yeah, I love it. I love how we get these great ideas as educators while we're in process teaching the kiddos, and we figure out ways to make things easier and more fun, more engaging, helps them get excited, and it helps them retain the information for a long time as well.
Would you be able
Well,
to let
I
us
also
know?
wrote it so that parents could
Yeah.
take this book and start the kids before they even get to kindergarten, preschool. If you start with this book while you're sitting at home just reading casually, and you have your baby sitting on your lap, and you're bouncing up and sort of use the chant that maybe uh or you pick a chant to go with it, because you know how you read in your head. And that was another reason I said, well, I would like to have my little preschoolers before they even get to kindergarten to know how to count backwards from 25. Because I've already tested it on my godchildren, and they're going from 25, 17, you know, that when they get to 10, they're good. But
Right.
25 down, they're like got different numbers in between.
Yeah, that you answered my question. I was just going to ask if you were to say what age group this book is appropriate for, but you've already answered preschool, kindergarten, teaching the numbers before they get on to elementary school. So, how long were you in the educational field teaching? I may have missed that.
Well, I did a couple things before I got into the teaching field. I worked in the OR when I was younger. Um, and I worked for the Housing Authority for many years. And then I went back and got my degree. Um, I Let me go back. I went to Pittsburgh Public Schools, first of all.
Okay.
And I went to Carnegie Mellon for Project Upward Bound. And Project Upward Bound was part of my high school system, but I went to Westinghouse and finished from there. I did go to Carnegie Mellon for a while, and but they didn't have the curriculum that I wanted, so I transferred to Chatham. Chatham had the curriculum of communication there, and since I liked photography and graphics, um, I decided that was a better choice for me. So I did finish with my degree in communication from Chatham, and then like I said, I did work for a while. I went back and got my education degree and started teaching. So I was teaching for about 15 years before I had to retire.
Amazing.
Wow, yeah.
And I love that you like did so many things in your life. It's always fun listening to people's stories about all the things they've done in life, and you went from one to the other, and I love that.
I'd say, and I just wanted to say, when I was in school, I'm a little more senior than you ladies are. So back in the day when I went to school, I wanted to be in graphics. And then I was discouraged, because it's like, why do you want to be back there with all those boys? Like, why do I want to be back there with all those boys? And the class that I wanted to take was, oh, it slipped my mind now. Had to do with engineering and penciling and ABCs and stuff like that. I can't think what it'll come to me, but I wanted to go back there, and apparently it was a all boys class,
So
and
great.
the lady said, "Well, why do you want to be back there with all those boys?" I'm like, "What does that have to do with anything? I go to history
Because
with
I
them,
can.
I go to uh, reading with them, I go to math with them. So what does it matter whether I go to mechanical drawing?" That's what it was,
Oh,
mechanical drawing with them. So since I retired, I have gone to Manchester Craftsman's Guild, because I do like photography and stuff. So
yeah.
I've been continuing with photography and graphics with them. So that's another reason. Uh, One of my newest book got to be the way it is, because I also am the illustrator of it as well as the.
That's wonderful.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Okay.
So, what inspired you to become an author?
Um, well, like I said, in the beginning, it started with my kindergarten class. I held on to my words and decided to keep it until later, but I guess the real beginning was with my children. I used to read them stories at night, and I used to make up stories for them at night and say different things. And the first book that I showed you that I came up with, my daughter didn't want to go to bed one night. So I decided I wanted to create a story for her, and I did. And she liked it so much that she would ask me all the time, Mommy, can you say it? Could you tell me the story again? And I'm like, okay. I would tell her the best way I could because, it's just made up and it was
Right.
impromptu. And I would tell her the story. And then eventually, I guess she got wise and said, Well, Mommy, that's not the same thing you said yesterday. It's different. So I decided, well, let me write it down.
Right.
So I did write that down and I kept it until I retired. Once I retired, I took it out and then I said, well, this is the time for me to make it into a real book. And that's what I did. I think we froze again.
A little bit, but we still hear your
Yeah,
wonderful voice.
the audio is steady, but the frame froze a bit. There it
There
is.
it is. There we go.
Yes. I don't know what part you heard.
Oh,
Oh
we
no,
heard
we heard the
everything.
entire
Oh,
thing.
you heard it? Oh,
We heard
okay.
it. You
And
just froze a little bit.
see on my side, all I just saw was faces, frozen faces.
Yeah, no, we got the entire audio.
Yes. So,
Okay.
Miss Giles, you know, you're an author, you're an illustrator. Do you have any favorite authors or illustrators that come to mind that maybe inspire you?
Um, I guess as far as children's authors are concerned, I used to like one of my favorite books was Two Bad Ants. And when I was teaching, when I was a student teacher, I read that story to the kids in my classroom, and we created a mural. I don't know if you would call it a mural, but anyway, each one of them created their own ant picture.
Oh, nice.
And then we hung it up in the hallway along the top of what do you call it, the top of the hallway. And when the kids would go down the hallway, they would see their artwork up on, and people that came from different floors and stuff like that, they liked it also. And as far as books that I really like, or I don't know if you know Beverly Jenkins. She's uh she's a historical author, but for adult readers, and I like history, so I really liked a lot of her historical romance novels that she created, and I'm in the process of ex possibly doing a series for my first book and trying to add a little historical something in it for young readers. So that would be one of my favorite authors.
I love that you target the young age. I always tell Keah when we work with a variety of ages of students, and I feel like the preschool, kindergarten age is just like a sweet spot for kids where it's like they're so impressed by everything you're doing and they also just want to learn and it's just so much fun. And I love that you created this book for those students and are making a series. Listen, I need to buy it. Okay.
Well, right now it's just on recording tape because I'm doing when it's a chapter book. It's a children's chapter book, so
Okay. So
you
it's gonna
have
be a book for
to.
a little older.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the older ones. And it's really not that much older. It's like, I guess you would say from 7 to 11,
Yep.
and because a lot of children nowadays can read by the time they're 7 or 8 years old, and
Very true.
they can do it really well.
Hmm.
Um, but I have it on tape, and I'm adding to it. So as I add to it, then I'll go back through the process and start putting it into a actual format, and have the sentences created for the book, and so that when you're reading the book, you'll get the picture in your head as you go along down the road.
Well, we are going to be watching out, Miss
Yeah.
Giles,
Yes,
I hope so.
yes, indeed.
Well, you have to get the first one too, so that you
Yes.
can
It's on my bucket list.
at least get an idea of
Yes,
who
ma'am.
this particular doll is.
I love that.
Yeah, speaking of your book, would you mind telling us about like the characters, or if there's a main character and what inspired you to write, have those particular characters?
Which book are we talking
We are
about?
talking about the book that you are going to be reading today.
Okay. Now, as far as a character, I can't say there's a specific character. These are just, I guess you say, characters of things that maybe have happened to me in my life, and not any particular one, but some events that may have happened, or things kids might do at at a young age. Because I used to skip rope and go to the park, and I used to get balloons and let them fly up in the air, and um, go to the pool, and
All the
different
things
things. Yeah,
that make
all,
childhood sweet.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So, and this particular book is not one just character, but it's just that I wanted all children to know how to uh, early math children to start beginning in that math route and really know the numbers that they see. And when they see this rhyme, or if they get confused or forget, they have something to go to remind them, okay, Miss Giles said 25, 24
Right.
on down the road, and then that way. And I even put a little poem on the back for them, which I'll read at the end of the story after I read the story.
Yes, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I don't. I'm actually really excited. So we're going to do something a little different today, and Miss Giles is going to actually share her screen with us, and we're going to flip through virtually, and we're going to be able to see the full illustrations and follow along with the story. So without further ado, we'll have Miss Cheryl Giles read her book, Counting Backwards, Rhyming Fun, 25 to 9.
Yes. And we are going to go on mute, and it's all you.
Okay, let me kind of move you all out of the way a little bit. All right. Counting backwards, rhyming fun. 25 to none. Story and illustrations by Cheryl Jackson Giles. And this book is for all children who are learning to count backwards. 25, 24. Let's skip out the door. 23, 22. This gift is for you. 21, 20. It tastes so minty. 19, 18. I take my sister skating. 17, 16. We like to go fishing. 15, 14. We dress for Halloween. 13, 12. Can you hear the church bells? 11, 10. Get him from the playpen. 9, 8. Look who's at the gate. 7, 6. The drawer really sticks. 5, 4. Let's run to C's store. 3, 2. Can I help you? 1, 0. You're my hero. And this one says paste cutting, cutout drawing, color page, or photograph of your favorite hero here. And then there's a separate page. Draw, color, or paste a photograph of your hero inside of the white space on the next page. Ask an adult to help you cut out the picture along the dotted lines, then paste it on top of the 1, 0. You're my hero page. Count backwards from 25 to none can be a whole lot of fun. So you can remember what to do. This rhyme was created for you. Whether jumping rope or getting in line, if you get stumped, remember this rhyme.
This was too cute.
Fantastic.
I love it.
Yes. This is a perfect learning companion for kiddos in classrooms. I think everybody will really enjoy this. And I also love the illustrations as well.
Thank you.
Yes.
So,
Miss Giles.
where can we find this book to purchase, Miss Giles?
It's on Amazon.com, and it's also with Ingram Sparks, because I know a lot of teachers or libraries and places like that prefer Ingram Sparks.
Yes. Well, I'm going to get my copy
Yes.
and include it in my collection to read to our kiddos.
Yeah.
And so, because you are an author, you're an illustrator, you're an educator, you're a lot of things, are there any people who are viewing this right now, young authors or young writers, young people, what would you say to them to give them some inspiring words?
Well, I would think I would want them to just go ahead and write down their thoughts. If they, um, I guess when I was a girl, a lot of people wrote their journals. I still have my mother's. She used to keep every day on a calendar. She would write down what she did, or um, who came to see her, or who she went to visit, or some trip that she may have gone on. And I guess I sort of picked up on that a little bit too. So if they have something in mind or something in their head and they don't want to forget it, well, write it down. Write it down, draw a little picture of it, because I'm a good doodler. I'll doodle in a minute. If something comes to my head, I'll sketch out a picture, or if I want to learn how to draw faces, I look at people's faces and try to copy the faces. Do you want to paint? Just pick up a paintbrush and don't be afraid, because when you're in kindergarten, you paint any kind of way and people love it. When you get to be older and it's like, oh, it's not right. But then I look at some pictures and of people's things, and like, to me, some people just think it's just wonderful, and some people think it's, well, I'm not sure if I like it because I don't understand it.
Right.
I don't understand it. But just go ahead and write it down, and eventually, as you grow and look back at it, you might even want to expand on it, make it more into a passion, maybe that's the word, a passion. Because if you have a passion, you'll continue to uh, keep going with it and take it until you're an old person and can't do it anymore. And even at that, you tell stories to your grandkids and
Right.
they remember those things that your grandparents or family members have told you. And
That's my favorite word, passion. I think I use that word a lot
okay,
because I have a passion for a lot of things, and I enjoy being around people who have a passion for things. And it's funny you mentioned that word because literally I say it all the
I think
time.
it's fantastic advice, especially when
Yeah.
you're starting out and you kind of have those nerves where you're concerned about how you're doing things and you're revisiting and you kind of lingering on things. It's nice to just remember, just keep going, just keep writing, just keep painting, just keep
just keep
creating.
going. Just keep going. If you make a mistake, just do it again.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
that's the only way we get better.
Right.
Yeah,
I think this was great.
yeah.
And we appreciate you, Miss Giles, for sharing your story and your story. And we look forward to seeing what is next for you. You know, you gave us a little glimpse of the series and what that may be about. But yeah, I, thank you again for being on Storytime Spotlight. Uh, any other parting words you would like to say to our audience who's watching?
Well, I just want to say thank you for having me, and I hope people really like this excerpt of it, and I will be telling my other family members about the story time because I was unaware until my daughter said, "Well, you might want to be part of this," and I said, "Okay," but I don't know if there's a schedule or a way for other people to find out about story time so that we can listen to your stories because people are writing books and they are putting them on audio and video.
Yes, ma'am.
So in order to me to find August Wilson's African American Cultural Center story time reading, I would want other people to be able to find you easily.
And you know what? That leads us into where you can find us.
Yes, so you can find information about our Storytime Spotlight series and so much more at awaacc.org. And you can also visit our YouTube page to see pre-recorded episodes of Storytime Spotlight.
Yes. And
Oh,
yeah, our website, our next one will be in October. We do it the last Tuesday of or not every month, every other month. So the next one will be in October. And we'll have a young writer who was a part of our youth writers camp. And she will be debuting some of her writing as an author. So,
Stay tuned.
yay.
sounds good. All right. You ladies.
Everyone, we will see you at the next Storytime Spotlight. Stay blessed, stay beautiful, and stay hydrated, as I always like to say.
See you next time.
Bye.